Eliminate negativity from your life now. Welcome to the Magic of Stoicism channel. Negativity acts like a shadow that envelopes our mind, distorting our view of the world and ourselves. We live in a society full of alarming news, global challenges, and daily pressures. Faced with this chaotic scenario, Stoicism emerges as a powerful response, offering not just superficial advice, but profound strategies that attack negativity at its source. Over the centuries, Stoic philosophers have faced their own battles, and from them we can learn to turn adversity into opportunities for growth. Negativity can manifest itself in many ways: in other people's criticisms, in frustrated expectations, in unexpected events, and even in our own thoughts. However, the goal is not to completely eliminate these situations or thoughts, which would be unrealistic, but rather to learn how to manage them. By changing our perspective and action, we can not only neutralize negativity, but also convert it into a source of positivity, which triggers a true internal transformation. This video will explore 9 practical and effective strategies for eliminating negativity from your life. Before we dive into these 9 practical and effective strategies to eliminate negativity from your life, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our content. The first of these is the change of focus. Redirecting your thoughts to the positive is one of the most efficient ways to combat negativity. Although it seems simple, it requires constant practice, as our natural tendency is to focus on what is wrong, an evolutionary inheritance that, in modern life, ends up translating into stress and frustration. This is where the importance of changing focus comes in. As Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. We often get stuck in cycles of negative thinking that magnify problems beyond what is necessary. Refocusing your thoughts can make a huge difference. When faced with a challenging situation, instead of allowing pessimism to take over, make a conscious effort to look for the positive or the lesson that can be learned. For example, if you lose a job, instead of focusing on the loss, see it as a chance to pursue something more aligned with your talents and passions. This does not mean ignoring reality or difficulties, but rather choosing how you will react to them in a constructive way. This mindset shift doesn't happen instantly, but over time, you can train your mind to be more selective about which thoughts are worth entertaining. Marcus Aurelius said that life is what our thoughts make of it, and this phrase sums up the power of perspective well. Imagine how different your life would be if, faced with each obstacle, you chose to focus on what you can learn or what is still working. This strategy gives you control over your view of the world, even in difficult times. There is always something to be grateful for, even if it's a small victory, like a warm meal or the support of a loved one. Gratitude, highly valued by the Stoics, connects us to what really matters and frees us from the endless search for more, or the fear of losing what we already have. When you feel negativity taking over, stop, breathe deeply, and look for something positive in the situation. It may be difficult to see right away, but with a little reflection you will realize that there is always something to learn or take away from any experience. Reorienting your thoughts not only banishes negativity, it also strengthens your ability to face challenges with a more optimistic and constructive mindset. When you change your focus, your energy also changes, and this directly impacts the way you view reality. The second strategy is to practice emotional self-discipline. This skill is essential for anyone who wants to deal effectively with negativity. The Stoics talked a lot about the importance of not being a slave to your emotions, and although this may seem complicated, it is a skill that can be developed over time. Seneca said that no one is free if he is not master of himself, and this phrase captures the essence of emotional self-discipline, being master of your reactions. Often, when something bothers us, we react on autopilot, letting our emotions take control. This can lead to regrets or intensifying negativity. However, imagine that you have the ability to pause between the event and your reaction. This brief break allows you to assess the situation more clearly and respond more rationally. This doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring your emotions, but rather acknowledging them without letting them dominate your actions. The next time you feel anger, sadness, or fear taking over, stop for a moment and ask yourself, how do I really want to respond to this? What response would be most beneficial in the long run? By taking this break, you regain control over your actions, instead of letting emotions rule. For example, in an argument, instead of reacting impulsively, you can take a deep breath and think about how to resolve the conflict in a more constructive way. Or after a stressful day, instead of letting negativity drag you down, you can find a more productive way to channel your emotions, whether it's going for a walk, meditating, or simply taking a break. Emotional self-discipline is a powerful tool because it allows you to act more consciously. With practice, you will notice that negative emotions lose their power over you. They do not disappear, but they stop dictating your actions. The more you train, the more natural this becomes, until this skill becomes part of your daily routine, transforming the way you deal with challenges and negativity. Now, the third strategy is to surround yourself with people who lift you up. This is one of the most practical and powerful ways to eliminate negativity. We often don't realize how much we are influenced by the people we live with. Our emotions, thoughts, and even decisions are shaped by those around us. If these people are always immersed in negativity, there is a high chance that it will affect you too. As Epictetus warned, avoid the company of those who complain about everything, for their illness is contagious. This advice is even more relevant today, in a world where criticism, complaints, and pessimism are everywhere. If you surround yourself with people who only see the negative side of things, you're likely to end up falling into the same trap. On the contrary, surrounding yourself with people who inspire and support you is transformative. Practicing detachment does not mean that you become indifferent to what happens around you, but rather that you recognize that you cannot control everything and that your inner peace does not depend on how things turn out. Imagine you are working intensely on a project with high expectations about the outcome. If you get too attached to success, failure can devastate you, and negativity will take over. However, when practicing detachment, you do your best, but understand that not everything is under your control, accepting whatever comes without letting yourself be emotionally shaken. Detachment allows you to see more clearly. When we are overly attached to something or someone, our emotions cloud our judgment, leading to decisions based on fears or desires rather than reality. By letting go, you distance yourself from this emotional roller coaster by analyzing situations in a more objective and balanced way, which in turn reduces the negativity in your life. In personal relationships, detachment is equally important. We often become so emotionally attached to people that their actions or decisions end up having a profound impact on our mood. However, letting go in this context does not mean stopping loving or caring about people, but rather not allowing your attitudes to control your emotional well-being. Understanding that we cannot control others frees us from unrealistic expectations and frequent disappointments. Detachment also extends to the material world. We live in a society that often measures success by what we have, and it's easy to get carried away by attachment to objects, money, or status. However, the Stoics remind us that everything we possess is temporary. By letting go of material things, we experience a sense of freedom. We are no longer trapped in the constant fear of losing what we have, because we realize that our true value does not depend on possessions or achievements. Practicing detachment involves becoming aware of your attachments. What causes you the most anxiety or stress? What people, things, or outcomes do you hold on to so tightly that you feel unable to relax? Once you identify these factors, you can start to let them go little by little, remembering that, although they are important, they should not define your happiness. This process of letting go eliminates a large source of negativity, as much of it arises from the fear of losing what we have or failing to achieve certain results. Now, let's move on to the fifth strategy, maintaining a long-term perspective. This practice has incredible power to reduce negativity. When we are faced with a problem, it is common to feel oppressed, as if the situation were definitive or with no way out. At that moment, negativity can take over, making it seem like the impact will be eternal. However, the Stoics teach us to step back and look at the situation with a broader view. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Remember how short the time we have to live is. Everything passes, and we soon forget." This reminder teaches us that many of the worries that consume us today will not carry the same weight in the future. How many times have you been stressed about something that, after a while, you realized wasn't as serious as it seemed? Maintaining a long-term perspective helps us deal with problems more calmly and objectively. Think of it as seeing the big picture. When you're facing a difficulty, instead of just focusing on the present moment, try projecting yourself into the future. Ask yourself, how will I see this in a month, a year, 5 years? Often, what seems insurmountable today, over time, turns into a simple memory or a valuable lesson. The Stoics teach us that everything is temporary, both good times and bad. Far from being a pessimistic vision, this idea brings a profound sense of freedom. When you understand that difficulties will pass, you can face them with more serenity and less negativity. Knowing that unpleasant events are inevitable but transitory helps you deal with them without drowning in the present. This strategy also changes the way we view obstacles. From a long-term perspective, each challenge turns into an opportunity for growth. Instead of seeing problems as tragedies, you begin to see them as essential parts of your development. Seneca, one of the great Stoics, captured this idea when he said, "Difficulty awakens genius." Adversity can actually be a catalyst for new skills and learning. For example, if you are facing a difficult period at work, rather than being consumed by stress or frustration, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I improve from this experience? When you keep a bigger picture, challenging situations don't seem so overwhelming and you prepare better for the future. Another advantage of thinking long-term is the patience it brings with it. Sometimes we find ourselves stuck in cycles of self-criticism, dissatisfied with the pace of progress, anxious for immediate results. But when you take a long-term view, you realize that true growth happens gradually, and this relieves the pressure of instant achievements. Every small step counts, and seeing things this way helps reduce the frustration and anxiety caused by the rush of wanting everything yesterday. In short, this strategy reminds us that life is a marathon, not a sprint. When you can see beyond the present, difficulties lose their intensity, allowing you to face them with more tranquility and optimism. And by remembering that everything is temporary, you cultivate a serenity that supports your emotional well-being. Another powerful practice is making peace with imperfection. The Stoics knew that perfection is unattainable, and the incessant search for it only generates frustration, anxiety, and negativity. By accepting imperfection, both in yourself and in others, you begin to live with greater ease and inner peace. Epictetus, another Stoic, reminds us that we should not demand that things happen as we wish, but rather accept that they happen as they should. How many times have you been disappointed because something didn't go as planned? Maybe you had high expectations for a project, a relationship, or even yourself, and when you didn't achieve the expected result, you felt frustrated. This occurs when we do not accept the imperfect reality of life. However, by embracing this imperfection, you release a great deal of unnecessary frustration and suffering. Accepting imperfection also means being kinder to yourself. We are all our own worst critics, amplifying our mistakes and failures. However, the Stoics teach us that making mistakes is part of the growth process. If you don't allow yourself to fail, you also don't allow yourself to learn. The focus should be on how we can improve, without the obsession of being impeccable. Growth is continuous, and mistakes are part of this journey. The same goes for others. We often expect people to act according to our expectations, and when they don't, we become frustrated or disappointed. But everyone has their own struggles and imperfections. Accepting this makes us more understanding and less critical, reducing the accumulation of negative energy that comes from unmet expectations. Accepting imperfection, in addition to being liberating, allows us to live in the present. When we're focused on doing everything perfectly, we spend a lot of time worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. By accepting that life is imperfect, we can focus on the now, doing the best with what we have, without carrying the extra weight of perfectionism. For example, when working on a project that doesn't go as expected, instead of beating yourself up, see it as a chance to adjust your plans, learn something new, and move forward. Reflective silence not only brings calm but also connects you with your own inner wisdom. For Stoics, silence is a way to access reason, that part of the mind that sees the world in a more objective and less emotionally charged way. By practicing silence, you can recognize when you are falling into negative thought patterns, and more importantly, you can correct those thoughts before they dominate your actions. A simple and effective practice that you can adopt is to set aside a few minutes a day to be in absolute silence, doing nothing. Just observe your thoughts, without the need to control or direct them. This exercise, as simple as it may seem, can have a profound impact, helping to reduce negativity and improve your mental focus. Additionally, reflective silence also improves your listening skills. Often, in conversations, we are more concerned with what we are going to say next than with actually listening to the other person. When we learn to silence ourselves and just observe, we become more attentive and understanding listeners. This strengthens our relationships and allows us to understand people on a deeper level. If you feel like negativity is taking over, try the practice of silence. It's not just about being silent, but about finding, in this space, the calm and clarity necessary to deal with life with more serenity. The next Stoic strategy for eliminating negativity is to adopt a mindset of service. The Stoics deeply valued the act of helping others, as they believed that when we stop focusing so much on ourselves and start focusing on how we can be useful to others, negativity naturally loses space in our mind. Seneca expresses this idea when he states, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity to do good." We often get caught up in our own problems, which can generate a feeling of isolation and consequently feed negative thoughts. However, when we shift focus and ask ourselves, "How can I help someone today?" our problems begin to seem smaller and our minds fill with a nobler purpose. Helping others, even in small gestures like listening to a friend or offering a word of support, can transform your day, bringing a sense of internal satisfaction that replaces negativity. Scientific studies have already shown that practicing acts of kindness releases dopamine, the hormone responsible for the feeling of well-being, reducing stress and elevating mood. When you adopt a service mindset, you realize you are not alone in your struggles. We all face challenges, and by helping others, you connect more deeply with humanity and discover that your own problems, however big they may seem, are not insurmountable. A service mindset is also an effective way to deal with difficult days. Imagine you've had a stressful day at work, feeling frustrated and surrounded by a cloud of negativity. Instead of wallowing in that feeling, you decide to help someone, whether it's calling a friend who needs support or doing something kind for a family member. This simple act not only helps those around you, but also changes your own perspective, showing that you have the power to positively impact other people's lives. Another way to embody this mindset is to engage in activities that benefit your community or environment. Whether it's volunteering for a cause you believe in or dedicating time and resources to support those around you, these acts connect you to something greater and fill your life with positive energy, which naturally drives out negativity. For the Stoics, each of us is part of a greater whole, and our lives gain more purpose when we serve others. By adopting this mindset, you not only find more meaning in your daily life, but you also lessen the burden of negative thoughts that often cloud our minds. The next time you feel the shadow of negativity approaching, ask yourself, "How can I help someone today?" You might be surprised at how much this small shift in focus transforms not only your day, but also those of those around you. Now, let's talk about resilience, a fundamental skill for eliminating negativity effectively. Being resilient does not mean that problems or difficulties stop affecting you, but rather that you are able to pick yourself up and move forward, without allowing these challenges to define your mental state. This is where Stoicism shines. The Stoics have always reminded us that although we cannot control what happens to us, we have complete control over how we choose to react. Epictetus summed it up perfectly when he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." This mindset is the foundation of resilience. We all face difficulties, whether big or small, but what really makes the difference is how we choose to face these adversities. Resilience is the ability to get up after every fall, not to let problems get you down, but to use them as steps to strengthen yourself. Stoicism teaches us to see every obstacle as an opportunity to grow. Instead of seeing difficulties as insurmountable barriers, We can see them as tests that make us stronger. Each challenge overcome makes us more prepared for the next one. And when we realize that we are capable of facing any situation, negativity begins to lose its power over us. Another pillar of resilience is acceptance. Accept that life will not always be easy, but that you have the internal resistance to deal with whatever comes your way. This acceptance brings peace of mind that is essential to ward off negativity. Instead of fighting reality or lamenting what cannot be changed, the Stoics teach us to focus on what is within our power. This proactive attitude not only maintains a positive mindset even in the most challenging situations, it also helps us emerge from these situations stronger than before. An important point is not to take failures personally. We all fail at some point, but the Stoics remind us that failure does not define who we are. Marcus Aurelius said that the true test of a person's character is the ability to endure difficulties without losing virtue. What really matters is not how many times we fall, but how many times we rise with integrity and strength. Instead of seeing failures as punishments or bad luck, start seeing them as lessons. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I become stronger from this experience? This simple yet powerful shift in perspective better prepares you for future challenges and reduces the influence of negativity on your life. Resilience also goes beyond the mind, involving the body and emotions. Taking care of yourself physically, such as sleeping well, maintaining a balanced diet, and surrounding yourself with supportive people, are crucial steps to staying strong during difficult times. In short, Stoicism strategies offer valuable tools to face life's adversities with more serenity, resilience, and positivity. By changing our perspective, accepting imperfection, and adopting a service mindset, we can eliminate much of the negativity that often paralyzes us. Resilience, in turn, helps us transform each challenge into an opportunity for growth, reinforcing our confidence that we are capable of overcoming any situation. Practicing reflective silence connects us with our inner wisdom, and by adopting these practices in our daily lives, we learn to face life with more calm and purpose. If you liked this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, and activate the bell to receive all notifications. This way, you don't miss any of our next videos. Let's continue this path of learning and personal development together.